The greatest adventure is what lies ahead. Today and tomorrow are yet to be said.
Hello everyone, No No Consequence here, back again with a new video. I recently uploaded a video in which I asked people for their opinions on topics that I could cover besides just recounting my ongoing Dungeons & Dragons campaign. And some people expressed an interest in videos offering advice on how I DM my own campaign. So this is another video in that series. So, several months ago, I uploaded this particular episode, and it recounted my characters, my players, having their characters travel from the village of Hamlet, which is down there in the lower right-hand corner, and they had a very long overland trip to make. You can see these slides are from that video. They traveled to the city of Verbabank, then continued along west along this thing called the Iron Road, passing through several towns along the way, and then continuing along the Iron Road until they hit this thing called the Great Western Road, and the city of Davarnish pointed out there. And actually, they continued on even further to another city. But the point is, this is a major route, and it would be heavily traveled. Now, in my particular case, I did not do any encounters on the road, and the reason is because in my current campaign, our time to meet is pretty limited. We meet once a week, but it's only for like maybe 2.5, 3 hours total time that we're logged in together. And then, of course, part of that'll be off-topic conversation and all the usual things that come up in a game session. So our actual game time is pretty limited, and I didn't want to use up a bunch of time resolving encounters on the road traveling. I wanted to get on with the actual campaign itself. So, like I say, I did not have any encounters on the road, but of course, in most campaigns, there would be, and you might want to play those out in your game. Of course, every game system is going to have some kind of a system for resolving that sort of thing. In my particular case, I use the BX rule set, and so if you go back in the tables that are found in the expert rule book, they provide tables for encounters, and so pointed out here is a table in there for wilderness encounters, and you can see it depends on the type of terrain that the characters are in, and you can see a lot of those results that you can come up with are just generic men. But then that refers you to a subtable for men. And then, depending on the terrain type that the characters are currently in, there can be a lot of different types of people that can be encountered. And so, for example, here, just this first column, first result is brigand. And then, if you refer to the section of, quote, monsters in the expert rulebook, there is an entry for men in general. And then specifically, I pointed out here for the brigand. And then there's, in addition to the stats, there's also a text block that describes each of these things. But as you can see, here, for example, there's only 5 non-player character types of encounters that they give you So they give you some options, but not a whole lot. Um, so that brings me to something that I found a few years ago, and which I keep handy in case I do want to resolve outdoor encounters like that. And that is this Imagine Magazine. This was published by TSR in the UK from 1983 to 1985. And it was their attempt to compete with White Dwarf magazine. But ultimately, they were not successful, and so Imagine magazine only lasted for 2 years, and then they shut it down. But even so, I want to go back to this particular issue. Issue number 26 which was published in, as you can see, May of 1985. And then if we look in the table of contents, I've pointed out a specific article there called Fellow Travelers by Paul Vernon. And then if we flip to that page in the magazine, this is the opening of the article. And you can even see the subtitle I pointed out there, the sort of people you might meet on the road in the D&D and AD&D games, and incorporating wayfarers into your campaign. And of course, just like the tables that I just showed from the BX rule books, this magazine article has tables as well. But as you can see, it's a lot more detailed. There on the far left-hand side, there are all kinds of different people that you can encounter as far as what their professions or trades might be. And then, like the other one, it's divided up by terrain type. So, like in my campaign that I just referred to, they would have been on the road. And then it's just your usual percentile roll that you would make, and you can go down the column there and see the percentage chance that the characters would have to encounter any one of those types of NPCs, and then how many there are, and so forth and so on. Another thing is that this table is divided up into what they call lawful and chaotic areas, and of course that would be for you to judge in your own campaign. For example, if you're fairly close to a large city, then that would almost certainly be a lawful area. And then if they were on the road out in the middle of nowhere, then it could easily be interpreted as a chaotic area. But again, it's up to you. And then the article goes on to describe what each of those types of NPCs are. And this is just an example that I screenshotted out of the article. But you can get an idea of the level of detail that's provided in that article. And then they even, again, back to our bandits, which I've pointed out here, they even refer you to the related Dungeons and Dragons rule books, which were in print at the time, and even an issue of Dragon magazine. So that's a nice little touch there. So this was Imagine magazine, which was published in the UK. As it turns out, several months later, this issue of Dragon magazine was published, specifically, as you can see, issue number 105. And if we look in the table of contents, pointed out there is an article called Travel Works Both Ways by the same person, Paul Vernon. And it's basically the same article. It's not exactly the same. Some things have been changed around as far as the text goes. As you can see, the formatting is different. And if we look at the one of the tables that are in that article, it's similar in the way it's laid out. And One of the main differences they provided in that article two tables, one just for the lawful areas, and then there's a second table that was provided for the chaotic areas. But otherwise, the tables work pretty much the same way. Okay, so out of these two, both the Imagine magazine and Dragon magazine, which one do I prefer? I have to say the one in Imagine magazine, I like it better. For one reason, as I pointed out a moment ago, both lawful and chaotic areas are combined into one table. So everything is more easily accessible, more condensed into one table to reference there. And then another thing that I like about the article in Imagine is the way the text is laid out. As I've pointed out here, the entries for the different types of NPCs, the way they have it is, you can see it's in bold, and there's larger breaks between the different types. So it just makes it easier to find the entry that you're looking for. The only other thing I would advise is if you're going to use something like this, they're supposed to be random encounters, but I would say roll them up ahead of time so that you can just drop them into the game without the players having to wait for you to generate the details of the encounter, and instead you can just go right into it. So, which one to get? Well, like I say, they're not exactly the same. So, if you're a completist, then try to get both of them. If not, if it doesn't matter to you, then again, I would favor the Imagine magazine version over the one that appeared in Dragon. But whichever one or both, and fortunately the downside is both of these magazines were published decades ago, which can make them difficult to find today. So where can you look for them? Of course, there's a thriving market for used role-playing material on eBay. And then there are other online RPG marketplace groups that you can look on, such as there's a lot of them on Facebook, for example, so you could also look there. As far as online goes, the Internet Archive is a great place to start your search, so you might give that a look as well. All right, well, that's all I have for now. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, leave me a comment, let me know what you think, share the video if you can, and anything you can do to support the channel, I appreciate it. Thanks again. Bye for now.
The greatest adventure is what